The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. The case up.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
And oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chicagoland Speedway, where it is time for race number 12 of the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. It is the Tropicana 400. And we had ourselves a very fantastic race last night with the Xfinity Series that saw Campbell Marsh, former NOS Energy Cup Series driver, go to victory lane for Walker Family Motorsports, and here we are again. You know, it has been absolutely outstanding with the action that we saw over the course of last May, and of course we're going to be starting off the month of June just right here with some action here at the Chicagoland Speedway, and then we'll be going to Michigan in just a couple of weeks' time. But my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, in case if you weren't with us last weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the running of the Coca-Cola 600, for the first time in the month of the year of 2026 rather, a part-timer went to victory lane, and of course of all of them, that was Martin Nixon, who won the Coca-Cola 600, holding off, I think it was either Aaron Abel or even Val Moscow. You'll see the full race replay. I mean, it's on the WRLA YouTube channel, but definitely for sure. But my goodness gracious, I'm saying my goodness gracious a lot, but nonetheless, because I'm just excited. I'm just excited. It's the first NOS Energy Cup race here since 2017. Of course, I talked about the Xfinity Series being here and putting together some wild action back in that day. And of course, just last night's Xfinity race wasn't all that bad. Definitely, honestly, if I may say, racing product-wise, it was a lot better. For the Cup Series here tonight, we're probably going to see something similar. The top line was the preferred way to go in last night's Xfinity Series race. In case if you missed that, be sure to go watch that on the WRLA YouTube channel. But nonetheless, I mean, what we might see here for tonight, we could see the bottom start to come to life here for tonight. It is very possible. We saw that in qualifying earlier today. If you haven't watched it, be sure to go check out qualifying. You should definitely see that. I mean, of course, the bottom line started to become the preferred way to go. It is very, very possible that we could see that here for tonight. But in the meantime, when it comes to our point series, or point standings here coming into this race, we go back to our normal points format where it is one point for leading a lap, 5 for leading the most laps, and 10 for winning the race, with the 40 traditional points for finishing in first, 35 in second, and so on. Here's a look at your point standings coming into tonight's race. Tanner Parton, although he was eliminated from the Coke 600, he still holds on to the points lead, but not by much. Andrew Miller breathing down his neck with 275. Russell Blaze still third. Monaco fourth. Avery Alford moves up inside of the top 5. Then Stephen Walker, Emily Anderson, Terry Walker, Aaron Abel inside of the top 10 for the first time. And also Noah Clifton rounding out your top 10. Claire Phillips now starting to gain a little bit of momentum on her end as she moves up to 18th in the point standings. And Mercedes Davis now starting to fall like a rock in the number 13 machine after Charlotte. She dropped from at least 11th down to 20th. And there is 21st through 30th, Wyatt Walker. You know, we talk about Walker Family Motorsports having themselves a great season in the Xfinity Series. Here in the Cup side, it has been an absolute nightmare. CG Holt 25th, Wyatt Walker was 26th, and you saw Terry Walker on the previous couple pages, but look at Abby Walker, second to last in the points standings. My goodness gracious. And even our defending champion Kyle Craven, he picked up a couple positions since Charlotte. Roberto Crown Jr. still has some ways to go, and even Janiyah Hill, unfortunately, back down to where she originally was at the beginning of last month before her eventual win at the Ricky Raceway, 31st in the point standings. And speaking of the Xfinity Series program for Walker Family Motorsports, Campbell Marsh is coming back over to that team. Wyatt Walker definitely coming to me this morning and saying, I am definitely bringing Campbell Marsh back to the Xfinity Series in one of my cars. And that definitely is some very, very great news when it comes to Walker Family Motorsports on the Xfinity Series side. But here for the Cup side, it is a little bit different, as they definitely have their work cut out for them, especially in qualifying. Alex Sanvitali, he had himself a bad, fast hot rod. He will be leading the field down to the green flag. Martin Nixon, our defending Coke 600 winner, he'll be starting third. Claire Phillips will be in the 7th position. Zachary Taylor, who's outside of the top 30, he's starting 5th. Russell Blaze, 3rd in the points. He starts 10th for tonight's Tropicana 400. Travis Crampton, who's also down to the bottom of the points standings, he's starting in 11th. Our points leader, Tanner Parton, starting in the 13th position. Kyle Craven, 12th. Abby Walker, 2nd to last in the points. Right now, she'll be starting in the 17th position. Sebastian Vaughn has had some momentum on his side, but he'll be starting mid-pack, as will Wyatt Walker, starting in the 22nd position. And then you got CG Holt, another Walker Family Motorsports car, starting in 29th. Roberto Crown Jr. dead last coming into this one, 27th. But Aaron Abel, another driver who's had himself a really an immense amount of momentum coming in, he'll be starting closer to the back end of the field. And then as we take a look at the provisional starters, the last 6 cars unfortunately did not take time, so they will be starting in 37th all the way down to 42nd. And that means all of the NS Racing cars will be taking the final 4 spots. Very, very unfortunate there, to say the least. Zachary Fitzwater and Noah Clifton, they will be rounding out the field in the 41st and 42nd positions, respectfully. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolutely amazing weekend here at the Chicagoland Speedway, and we have one final race to go before we go on our little break and then get back at it at Michigan in mid-June. It's definitely going to be a fun one. 134 laps of action and excitement. It's going to be fun. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the racetrack, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off. And so are these 42 competitors. And just as a little warning, there might be a chance where frames may drop at times. That's only because of some of the cars being in this huge wad. So you want to apologize in advance just in case if it happens. I did get rid of the UIE, like the custom ticker stuff, and also tried to do the best I could to maybe see if I could lower the graphics. But if I tab out one time, then the frames pretty much just go down immensely. So we're going to do the best that we can here for tonight. But nonetheless, frames are still looking pretty good at this current moment. And it is a beautiful day to go green flag racing here at the Chicagoland Speedway. We had an amazing Xfinity race last night, and we're prepping for another one here tonight. Alex Sanvitali and Ryan Little. Satan himself is going to possess the graphics. And we're going to switch camera views here. Pace car is off, and here we go. Alex Sanvitali, Ryan Davis, they're going to lead us to green and get things started here in Chicago. Oh my goodness gracious. Satan himself has possessed the graphics. I thought that we would have been done with that. But it turns out that is not the case. Field works their way through turns 3 and 4. You have Martin Nixon down there on the inside line. Sanvitali on the outside. Dead heat at the start-finish line. Give it to Sanvitali. He leads the first lap of action, and he'll pick up that bonus point for leading a lap. And I do apologize if this is a little hard to watch. I would not blame anybody one bit. Nixon trying to hold on the inside line. Sanvitali trying to bury it deep, going through turns 3 and 4. So far, he's got the momentum, but it looks like the bottom is going to be the preferred way to go, and that's actually pretty interesting. You know, I talked about it at the top of the show. Where the top side was the preferred way to go, the preferred line on this racetrack. In last night's Xfinity race, we saw a lot of drivers go to the outside, but here tonight, it looks like the inside may be the way to go. Field comes off turn 4 yet again. Here comes Zachary Taylor in the 85 down to the bottom, but it will be Nixon leading lap number 3. We're going to be sticking with this camera for just a little while. Maybe until there's a little less cars on the racetrack. And what's actually kind of interesting is that we did not have this issue in the during qualifying earlier today. I mean, we had all 42 cars on track at one point, but they were all pretty much spread out. But when they're in this huge wad, I mean, I can understand how definitely intense the graphics can get, as you're going to see right there. But doesn't seem to be happening as frequently. But we're going to stay on this camera just to be on the safe side. In the meantime, you just saw Zachary Taylor take the race lead away. Here comes Claire Phillips down to the inside. You also have Rogel Dorn, Russell Blaze down there on the bottom. Our front row of Alex Sanvitali and Ryan Davis, they're up top right now. Currently scoring wise, Sanvitali runs 5th. And Ryan Davis currently runs in the 7th position. And how about Travis Crampton in that number 61? Giving the Performance Plus motor oil colors a good run for their money here tonight. He debuted those colors at Texas World and was doing pretty well. And unfortunately, had to take a top 15 finish after some pit road shenanigans. Of course, pit road at Texas World was coded just a little bit weird. But so far in this race, running in the 8th position, now 7th as they cross the start-finish line and head back towards turn 1. With Zachary Taylor in command of this race. 3 wide there with Ryan Davis. He backs out of that. And the outside line of the back straightaway starts to come to life with Martin Nixon and Sanvitali getting to run around Russell Blaze, at least temporarily. They're 3 wide mid-pack. That's with Cornish in the middle. At least it was there for a second, but Cornish was in the middle. And now he falls back behind Andrew Ramsey. You'll see Wyatt Walker right-hand side of your screen with CG Halt. So far, Abby Walker currently sitting in the 13th position, so she's doing pretty well here in the early goings of this race. And then running in 22nd, that would be Wyatt Walker. CG running 23rd, and then Terry Walker running in 39th at this current moment. But a lot of cars all just wadded up together here. Down the back straightaway, heading into turn number 3. And things definitely looking pretty chaotic. I mean, well, I wouldn't say chaotic, but you get a little bit further up towards the front end of the field, and it's all kind of just calmed down for the most part until you get back here. This is where the action is, and this is where all the cars are kind of just wadded up together. Let's test the graphics out here. Nope, we are staying on the spectator cam. I saw Satan just definitely polygon some of the graphics in the back of the pack. So we're staying with this camera for a while. And I do apologize for that, but I know this is something I don't want to do, but this is kind of the only option that we have. So again, do apologize if some bits and pieces were just a little bit hard to watch. Tanner Parton, our points leader, has moved up into 10th. He is now knocking on the door of Skylar Taylor to take 9th away as they come through turn 4. Looks like the outside line starting to get a little bit of grip as Skylar Taylor edges out Tanner Parton for that 9th position. 3 wide going into 1. Abby Walker looking pretty strong here. Definitely knows that she needs to get the maximum amount of points that she can, and she takes it downstairs on our points leader. Kyle Craven, our defending champion, also coming to life as well in the early stages of this race, as we're coming to 12 laps complete from here at Chicagoland. For those that are just now tuning in, Satan himself has possessed the graphics, and we're polygoning pretty in some spots pretty badly, but so that's why we're on the spectator cam. But as you can see, Zachary Taylor is your race leader. It was Alex Sanvitali and Ryan Davis right here that started on the front row, and they have slotted in 7th and 8th. But Zachary Taylor, he leads the way with Claire Phillips running in 2nd. Rogel Dorn in 3rd. Martin Nixon, last Saturday's Coke 600 winner, in 4th. And then Russell Blaze rounds out your top 5 with Travis Crampton in 6th. And Davis and Sanvitali, as we touched on, 7th and 8th. Skylar Taylor, 9th. And Abby Walker now moves up inside of the top 10. And there goes Parton around the outside of Kyle Craven for the 11th position. Meanwhile, Trinity Anderson and Skep Silver fighting it out for the, looks to be the 13th position. Indeed, that is the case. Skep Silver is going to win that fight heading into turn number 1. And Quentin Moore and Aaron Abel, looks like they're going to be duking it out for position here. And this is actually a very impressive development for Aaron Abel, because he did not have a great season last year here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. And ever since Racing Motorsports switched to Toyota, and Aaron Abel's car and Skylar Taylor had complete makeovers on their race machines, looking completely, very much so different. Aaron Abel has kind of performed a little bit better, but points-wise, definitely was inside of the top 30, but then kind of started picking up a little bit of momentum, and then finished 2nd at Charlotte. I believe got that runner-up finish that actually, yeah, because he did get those 20 bonus points because of Martin Nixon winning the 600. Because remember, if a part-time driver wins, those bonus points go to the highest finishing full-time driver. Aaron Abel happened to be in the right spot. He got all those bonus points, and that catapulted him all the way up to 9th in the point standing. So far for Aaron Abel, having himself a really great run heading into the month of June, and in this race currently running in the 16th position. Everybody's kind of gotten themselves into a little bit of a single file rhythm. Almost 20 laps complete here in the Tropicana 400. And we're going to take a look further in the back of the field as everybody has kind of gotten themselves single file. Cornish to the inside of Sebastian Vaughn. This is the fight for 22nd. Cornish will be back to full-time racing in the NOS Energy Cup Series for EGI. Currently running on a part-time basis as he runs full-time in the Menards Truck Series. They're off ever since they've been off ever since their Indiana Bash last Thursday. But at this current moment, Cornish. I mean, points-wise over there, he's been doing pretty well, but when it comes to the Cup side, currently just racing like he's got nothing to lose. He took a few weeks off, took a few races off to make way for Lily Cassius when she was making her starts, but she only made 2 starts, and both of those were top 10 finishes, so not too bad of status there for Lily Cassius in her brief time here in the Cup Series. But as you can see, Cornish back behind the wheel of the number 8, renumbered back into the number 8, and he's up in 22nd as of right now with 20 laps complete. Further in the back, there's Wyatt Walker, and man, this number 19 machine is just in trouble right now. He started, I believe, 22nd and has lost 4 spots within these last 20 laps. And there's also Zachary Fitzwater, who finds himself top 15 in the points standing, so he's not having himself a good night either. But he's going to get to the inside of Wyatt Walker heading through turns 3 and 4. And there goes the Pertec machine to the inside. Further in the back, Bobby McGuire being challenged by Terry Walker as he goes to the inside of the 18 machine heading through turn 1. And remember, the NOS racing cars, and as well as Bruno Diacomo and Jordan Sumner, unfortunately, I forgot to include them in the 42 car roster for qualifying in round 1. So they got credited with 37th to 42nd. So that's where they all started. And since the last 22 laps, Noah Clifton has gone from 42nd to 35th. Zachary Fitzwater has gone from 41st all the way up to what looks to be the 26th position. So he's been having a good climb. Nathan Stapleton has gone from 40th to 31st. Andrew Miller has gone from 38th, or 39th rather, to 34th. So he picked up 5 positions. Bruno Diacomo has just been going backwards for the last 23 laps now, so he finds himself in the 40th position. And then Jordan Sumner started 37th and finds herself in 31st. So she picked up at least 5 spots within the last 24 laps now. And look at this development here. Challenge for second. Here comes Rogel Dorn to the inside of Phillips. Dorn edges ahead, heading down the back straightaway, but look at that drive off and that momentum that Phillips has that's going to draw her dead even with Rogel Dorn as they come through turn 4. And carrying that momentum back to the stripe, and Phillips is going to retain that second position. And while all that's happening, look at the gap that Zachary Taylor's been able to create here between himself and this fight for second. 0.4 of a second, almost a half a second on second place on this fight for second. Meanwhile, back behind them, Travis Crampton and Martin Nixon are duking it out for what looks to be for the 4th position. As Russell Blaze looks on in the number 6. Of course, I gave you a rundown of all the Walker Family Motorsports cars and where they've been running the last time we checked in. But if you're wondering where all of your Death Rider racing cars are currently running, as you can see, Russell Blaze, he is currently running in the 6th position, trailing this 4-car fight for the 2nd position. And then we take a look further in the back. Kyle Craven has slotted in 12th, and then Stephen Walker, you're going to find him all the way back in that 27th position. Let's test the waters here. All right, things are looking a little bit better, so we can definitely stick with this camera for now. But look at that, though. Zachary Taylor, man, he has not had a great season whatsoever. Currently has 1 win to his NOS Energy Cup career, and that came at Michigan just 3 years ago, a little over that time, when Michigan was actually the season opener for the NOS Energy Cup Series, and Taylor managed to win that fight over Quentin Moore. to nab his first and currently only Cup Series win. We would definitely love to break that 3-year winless streak here tonight as he leads over Rogel Dorn. And now here comes Travis Crampton to the inside. And this is going to be for the 3rd position as they come off of turn number 4. This is also pulled in. Ryan Davis, San Vitali's back in the mix, and now Abby Walker looks like she's going to try to go for that 9th position heading into turn 1, or 8th rather. Now remember, Abby Walker comes into this race second to last in the points standings, and my goodness, this is the run that she needs. This is the run that she needs if she wants to get into the championship fight. If she wants to get into that discussion, she's going to have to start really picking off top 5s and top 10s and maybe start winning and just keep that consistency up throughout the season if she wants to climb her way up through the point standings. And obviously with the ratings being even across the board, that can be pretty difficult to do. But I do have faith in Abby Walker as, of course, she is a NOS Energy Cup winner in her own right. She won at Iowa last year, back when she was driving the number 18 machine. So far, running in that 8th position in the car number 16. Doing a very nice job as of right now. Now she gets to the inside of Ryan Davis. This is going to be the fight for 7th as up front. Rogel Dorn is broken free from this from the fight for 3rd, or for 2nd rather, as he'll pull away. And here we go. Actually, pit stops are getting ready to start. And oh boy, we saw a wreck happen as pit stops were beginning. Oh my goodness, Bobby McGuire, holy cow. He was definitely speeding on the entrance to pit road, so he might get a penalty in the number 18 machine. But we saw a wreck happen on the first round of green flag pit stops in last night's Xfinity race. And so far, with the first wave of cars that came in, we did not see a caution. So thank God for that. Travis Crampton brings the field down to pit lane, at least the rest of the cars that elected to stay out. And if I'm seeing this correctly, I wonder if DeFeo, Alford, and also the 04 of Moore. Oh, a little bit of damage between Claire Phillips and Travis Crampton. Oh, a little bit of contact between the both of them, I would say. So there's a little bit of extended time might be needed for either Phillips or Crampton. Maybe not. I don't think the damage might have been severe enough. Crampton leaves out of his pit box, as does Phillips. So I think the damage might not be severe enough to where they would need to stay on pit road to assess the damage. Andrew Miller comes out with the rest of the field. And I'm still wondering if Alford, Moore, and DeFeo have already made their stops, if they were the first ones to come down, or if... I think they might have been the first ones, honestly. They might have been the first ones. So, with this round of green flag pit stops, I do believe they've been officially completed. So with that said, your top 10 looks like this. With less than 100 laps to go in the Tropicana 400, it is Quentin Moore leading the way here at Chicagoland. Then Zachary Taylor sits in the 2nd position, Rogel Dorn 3rd, Avery Alford in 4th, Michael DeFeo rounds out your top 5. And then in the 6th position, it is Russell Blaze, Aaron Abel in 7th, Abby Walker 8th, Ryan Davis 9th, and CG Halt appears in the top 10 for the first time here tonight. There he is. He also has a cup win in his own right. He won at Kansas just 3 years ago. And of course, the Cup Series will be going to Kansas Speedway later on in the calendar. So far, looks like this is where he's running, at least for the time being. some drivers, I think, that started up front, I mean, they might have had a lot of trouble on their pit stops. Alex Sanvitali, he started on the pole in this race, and he is faded all the way back to the 17th position. Definitely not the place that Sanvitali would have imagined himself ending up. Remember, he unloaded this. The Durrani Racing Team unloaded the 69 car, and it was fast in qualifying. Topped the board in round 1. Came close in round 2. Topped it in round 3 to win the pole. And unfortunately had a few hiccups on the pit stops, and he has been relegated all the way back to the 17th spot. McGuire now going to work on Roberto Crown Jr. to retain that 19th position as they come through turn 4 down the front stretch. And it's definitely not giving it up here, as they're still dead even down the back straightaway. Oh my goodness, this is some pretty good stuff that we're starting to see here. And for a moment, I thought the caution flag came out, but that does not appear to be the case. And we stay green. We had 3 cautions in last night's Xfinity race, and so far, we've gone a little bit longer without a caution, but I don't want to jinx it just yet. We could also see a caution-free race here tonight. It's very possible. Fitzy to the inside of Emily Anderson. This is going to be the fight for 21st. And Fitzy makes it look easy as they come through turn 4. Back behind these guys, Jordan Sumner and Kyle Craven. Boy, Craven didn't have himself a good stop either, as he files in the 25th position. So he lost 13 spots since our first round of green flag pit stops. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, Zachary Taylor has reeled in Quentin Moore. He's in the midst of a Durrani Racing sandwich between Quentin Moore and also Rogel Dorn, who remains inside of the top 5. And Dorn looking to try to make this a 3-horse fight for the race lead. See what the gap is between Dorn and Taylor. Now down to 0.3 of a second. So Rogel Dorn has definitely been eating away at that gap. Meanwhile, back here, Avery Alford, top 5 in the point standings, top 5 in this race here tonight. He sits 4th. Russell Blaze, he is 3rd in the point standings, but here in this race, he is 5th as of right now. So Russell Blaze would like nothing more than to try to close the gap on Andrew Miller and Tanner Parton and try to take back that points lead that he had after Talladega. And, you know, that's definitely, I'd say for Russell Blaze, when he first got the points lead, he took it as an accomplishment. You know, just taking the points lead for the first time in his NOS Energy Cup Series career. He had come close several times in last year when he had that championship fight with Kyle Craven. Came close several times. And after his win at Talladega, that bumped him up to the points lead for 1 week, and then he lost it to Tanner Parton at Iowa, who took home a top 10 finish. Russell Blaze went on to finish 40th. But I'd say here for this season, he is carrying the same amount of speed and the same amount of confidence that he had last year. Still hungry for wins and hungry for top 5s and top 10 finishes as he gets to the inside of Alford for the 4th position. How about Aaron Abel and Abby Walker? Remember, these 2 drivers are also performing pretty well here in this race. Abel, 9th in the point standings. Abby Walker, as I mentioned, 2nd to last in points, and she definitely could use a great run here tonight. So far, she's getting it. Currently scored 7th, and maybe might try to see if she can take 6th away as they head down the back stretch. So far, she's going to get it. And up front, 3-horse race. No pun intended with all 3 of these cars being Mustangs. But they are definitely using the horsepower to check out from the second group that is fighting hard for that 4th position. Blaze has it, and he's trying to run away with it. But up front, Zachary Taylor stalking the 04 of Quentin Moore. Heading back through turn number 4. And Quentin Moore continues to lead the charge. Here goes Zachary Taylor, finally taking it downstairs. Try to take that race lead back. And Rogel Dorn running the middle line, almost getting into the back of his teammate there. As now they're going to duke it out for second. Dorn searching for win number 2 on the season. It wouldn't be the first time that he would be a multi-time winner in a season. Of course, last year he won Darlington and Ricky. This year he has won Texas World, and he's trying to add a 4th win to his column here in the Cup Series, and he's going to take that 2nd position, or at least retain it, from Quentin Moore as he pulls ahead going into turn 3. And looks like he might clear, or actually not quite. Moore is going to hang on around the outside. He's going to hang on the left or right rear quarter panel of the 86, heading back through turn 1. This time, Dorn clears the 04 of Quentin Moore, and Zachary Taylor definitely trying to start pulling away in the number 85 machine. Further in the back, also Blaze, Abel, Walker, they're all single file, at least momentarily. We could still see some passes a little bit further in the back, and look at this. Here goes Crampton on CG Hall, who runs wide through turns 1 and 2. That almost also allowed Avery Alford to take advantage from the 10th position. So far, everybody just minding their own P's and Q's, at least for the moment, as they head down the front straightaway. And it won't be long until we see round 2 of green flag pit stops. I'd say right around lap 61, 62, if anything. Could very well potentially be the case. Take a look further in the back of the field. There's another fight going on over here. Fitzy trying to go to the inside of San Vitale. This would be the fight for 19th. Look at McGuire in that 18. Almost all the way up against the wall through turns 1 and 2. And that's probably going to open up the door for Emily Anderson to drive to the inside. And there she goes, underneath of the 18 of McGuire. Further up at the front of the field, Crown tried to take it downstairs on Alex Bonsignor. This time he runs the middle line, heading through turns 1 and 2. And remember, Crown is also in need of a great run here for tonight. Remember, he's dead last in the point standings. So far running in 17th. He's definitely having himself a decent night tonight, but would definitely love to improve the result that he currently has as of right now if he wants any sort of opportunity to get out of the outside of the top 36 in the point standings. Now he goes to the inside of Bonsignor. And this is the fight for the 16th position, heading back through to 3. Looks like Crown is going to get it, coming off of turn number 4. And how about that? go further back. It's Kyle Craven. Remember, he fell to 25th, still running 25th, and points leader Tanner Parton. Oh boy, this is definitely not the run that he wants. And if you're Russell Blaze, you definitely have to be smiling ear to ear, getting the information that Tanner Parton is running 27th. He did not have a first green flag pit stop and fell from outside of the top 10 all the way down to 27th. But we have another round of pit stops coming up later on, so it could very well be the case. And as you just saw there, here's Andrew Miller. Remember, he's runner-up in points, 3 points back from Tanner Parton. And oh boy. There's the Davis family racing cars of Mercedes and Liam and Wyatt Walker running 40th, 41st, and 42nd. Definitely not having the runs that they were looking for here for tonight, as they had some good qualifying positions, good starting spots, but the pit stops have just not gone their way, and obviously that is a result right there. 40th through 42nd for all three of those drivers. Place to the inside of Quentin Moore, his former teammate. That's for third. And there goes Aaron Abel to the inside. That's going to be for the fourth position. Abby Walker right there in sixth. And could be knocking on the door of the top five. But remember, we're going to have to watch these guys because pit stops are going to be upon us here pretty soon. The window is about to open. And we could see drivers like Moore, Alfred, and DeFeo drop off and come to pit road. We could see that maybe within this next lap. Blaze sitting in third. Everybody's kind of strung out just a little bit. Travis Crampton works his way to the back bumper of Ryan Davis coming off of turn 2. Martin Nixon, our defending Coke 600 winner. Or last week's winner, I should say. Hanging tough from the 10th position. Actually, no, they're going to stay out this time by. That's actually kind of interesting. So they might go. They could go at least one more lap, but I'm kind of just keeping my eyes out for these drivers that will have to make room for all the other cars that are going to be peeling down to the inside and trying to get to pit lane. We could see that here. Not the case. They're stretching it out just a little bit more. Pretty interesting stuff that we're seeing. Up front, is further in the back, Skylar Taylor and Ryan Little do get it out. It's for the 16th position as they head back through 1. Four laps away from halfway in the Tropicana 400. In case if there is anybody that is just now starting to tune in, we're almost halfway through this race, and there goes Moore. Alford, they're down. DeFeo's going to stay out. So we're going to start to see a little bit of strategies kind of start to get a little bit more diverse, as some drivers are going to stay out an extra lap. Some are going to roll the dice. DeFeo looks to be one of them, as he moves up into the 10th position temporarily. Phillips down to the inside. I think we're going to see the 5 of Phillips and Crown come to pit road. Actually, nope, not the case. Abby Walker will be surrendering the 5th spot to come to pit road, as will Ryan Little, Stephen Walker, Clifton, Cornish, back further in the back, Diacomo, Hill, Monaco, and the couple of Wyatt Walker and Mercedes Davis. They're in. It's only a matter of time that we're going to see the leaders come on down, and that's going to be the case. And they slow it down. And Fitzy, Craven, they are the only two from this pack that are going to stay out. And you can add in Andrew Ramsey and Skep Silver to that list. So Fitzwater takes the lead, as we are about to be halfway through the Tropicana 400. But I wouldn't be surprised to see, I'm definitely not going to be surprised to see the 98 make that trip down to pit lane, as will Craven. Both of these drivers, they're coming in. Along with the 57 and the 67, they're out. They're off the racing surface and they're on pit lane. And if anything, I think the race lead may potentially go back to Quentin Moore as he gets out ahead of Rogel Dorn. And as well as Blaze, Aaron Abel, CG Hall, they make their way back on the racetrack. So fairly interesting developments that we're starting to see. Craven, Silver, and Ramsey, I believe they're just now making their way back out on the racetrack, and there they are. And way out ahead, he's the 85 of Zachary Taylor. I wonder if he had a bad stop. See what the results say. Actually, yeah, I don't see him in the top 10 anymore, so he has fallen all the way down to 42nd, so something went amiss on the 85 of Zachary Taylor on that pit stop, and that sent him from first to last after this round of green flag pit stops. So the top 10 definitely looks very different for the most part. Quentin Moore leads it over a hard-charging Avery Alford. He's sitting in the second position. Then in third is Abby Walker, sitting comfortably in that third spot, that is. Then we go all the way back, just by another 2-4 seconds. That would be Rogel Dorn sitting in the fourth spot. Aaron Abel completes your top 5. Then in 6th is Russell Blaze, CG Holt. In 7th, Stephen Walker shows up inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight, as does Ryan Little, and as well as Noah Clifton. Remember, Clifton started 42nd in this race. He did not take time in round 1 of qualifying due to a mishap of my own. And through pit stops, he has busted his ass to get inside of the top 10. Past the halfway mark in the Tropicana 400, your top 2 starting to pull away from Abby Walker little by little. But that second pack that's now being led by Aaron Abel, they are starting to make some time on the top 3. And they're going to try to pull up. Or they're going to at least chew away at that gap lap after lap. So maybe within the next 20 to 30 laps, I would expect this wad of cars that's being led by Aaron Abel to pick up the 16 of Abby Walker. This is also kind of an interesting development too, because Abby Walker's also been doing pretty well with her pit stops. So maybe after another round, she could find herself maybe contending for the lead with Alford and Quentin Moore. We're just going to have to wait and see how this develops with now 60 laps to go next time by. Moore still leads it. Avery Alford just waiting in the wings, just sitting in that second position. And Abby Walker, for now, sitting comfortably in that third position. Now, if you are a Durrani Racing fan, of course, you're definitely smiling from ear to ear as Quentin Moore leads it, Rogel Dorn in 5th, and then you have Alex Sanvitali might not be too pleased with him as he has been relegated all the way back to 32nd. Man, the pit stops have just not been on the side of San Vitale. Had himself a fast car in qualifying earlier today, and that unfortunately is not translated into the race when it comes to his pit crew. And then there's our top two leaders in the point standings, Parton and Miller, excuse me, as they are currently running 35th and 36th scoring wise on the racetrack. And Parton's going to get to the inside for 34th. So this is definitely the thing that Russell Blaze is going to need here if he's going to have any sort of opportunity to try to take back the points lead. Because if I go back and look at the points so far, the difference between first and third is a good 13 points. That's the difference right now. Now for Blaze, he's currently running in 6th position, and I'd say that's a good 28. Yeah, 28 spots as of right now. Now keep in mind, I'm not sure if Blaze led a lap, but if he did, that probably is going to be a good difference maker into who takes the points lead leaving tonight. And if things kind of go the way that they are right now for Andrew Miller and Andrew Miller and also Tanner Parton, excuse me, then that will definitely give Tanner Parton or Russell Blaze, I'm getting names mixed up, a huge advantage when it comes to catapulting himself back to the points lead. But another thing that Blaze is also looking to do here is win, and so far he has been remaining inside of this top 10 all night long and has done an absolutely spectacular job here in this race. He moves to the outside, maybe trying to see if he can make something happen with Rogel Dorn. Maybe try to knock on the door for the 5th spot from the outside line. They head through turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, up front, top 2 continuing to pull away is now basically this pack has essentially caught Abby Walker, and with that, Abby's now kind of starting to chew into the lead of Alford and Moore as they've been running nose to tail for a little while. But Abby Walker, as of right now, still sitting in that 3rd position. Probably is going to get picked up here by Aaron Abel and his pack of cars. But obviously have Dorn and Blaze and CG Halt that are doing pretty well here in this race. And again, just to give you a update, again, if you are a Walker Family Motorsports fan, obviously we do see Abby Walker, CG Hull, they are 3rd and 7th respectively. Terry Walker, you're going to go all the way back to about 36 to find him. And then Wyatt, man, he's just not having himself a good night whatsoever as he's currently running in 40th. What's also pretty amazing to me is that we're obviously past the halfway mark. We have not seen a caution flag yet in this race. We've been caution free since the drop of the green flag. Obviously have not had a single yellow. We haven't had an incident. Nobody's gone out of the race, which is honestly great news. But my, oh my, we could have ourselves a pretty clean race here at Chicagoland. It's very possible we could have it, but never say never. A caution could come out at any given point. 4th place has reeled in Abby Walker. So now they're going to pick her up, and maybe they're going to try to get around her for the 3rd position. That is for Aaron Abel. But now they're starting to close the gap just by a few hundredths, maybe a tenth at a time. But last lap around, we did see Avery Alford and Moore kind of just walk up the racetrack a little bit through turns 1 and 2, and we're starting to see it again with Avery Alford as he starts to run the second line. Maybe to try to see if he can get a better drive off as they head down the back straightaway. So far, that's not proving to be any sort of benefit for Alford, but as he follows in the tire tracks of Quentin Moore, trying to stay with him. He does lose a couple of hundredths there, but third place now starting to reel in top 2. They just gained another 10th. Now heading back through turn 2 down the back stretch into the third corner. Let's see what the gap is going to look like this time by. Oh, 2/10 got taken off there. Is Abby Walker and as well as Aaron Abel. I think they're starting to also pull away from Dorn and Russell Blaze that are now going to start duking it out for 5th, maybe here. Thought that would have been the case, but looks like Dorn's going to get the better drive off, and he'll start to retain that 5th position from the 29 of Blaze. Heading down the front stretch back into turn number 1. We're definitely going to see this pack reel in Moore and Alford here pretty soon. If not if they don't catch him by the time the third round of green flag stops begin, they're definitely going to be very, very close. This time by, it'll be 90 laps complete. Man, Zachary Taylor, who has had himself a very strong opening part of the race. Unfortunately, something has gone awry on Zachary Taylor's car. Oh, crash in turn 2. It's with Stapleton and Sumner. Caution on the speedway. Oh my goodness gracious. Quentin Moore leads them back to the caution flag. But we have had our first incident of the night here at Chicagoland. And it took us 90 laps to actually see our first caution. Wow. Impressive run there for all these drivers, but for Jordan Sumner, lots of damage to her race machine. Pit lane is now open. And oh my goodness, Nathan Stapleton in the 97. That is a shame as his night's going to come to an end. Sumner's already pulled it behind the wall. And Stapleton probably is going to join him here pretty soon. Such a shame. But here we go. And we're probably going to have to stay on this camera view for a little bit. As leaders do come on in, they start their round of yellow flag pit stops. Everybody who has been needing to come down pit road. So let's see just exactly how this will all shake out. As Quentin Moore, actually, he's going to win the race off of pit lane with Aaron Abel coming out, or Avery Alford coming out in second, then Abby Walker in third, and then Aaron Abel in the 4th position. Then coming out 5th will be CG Halt. In 6th will be Stephen Walker. Russell Blaze gets kicked back to 7th. Crampton 8th, Clifton 9th, and Roberto Crown Jr. enters the top 10 for the first time tonight. Let's go back and review what happened to Nathan Stapleton that brought out our first caution flag of the night. And this is definitely going to be very interesting to see what in the world happened to Nathan Stapleton. And oh boy, this is an interesting development. As we're going to watch here, Stapleton following in the tire tracks of Janiah Hill. He's going to get to the, or at least going to try to start a pass here going into turn 1. But watch Jordan Sumner in the 89. Definitely gets a great run going into the corner and tries to tuck in behind Stapleton, but just gets into the right rear and hooks him. Oh my goodness gracious. Hill was very close to being involved in that one, as was Ryan Davis. Although he did get a little bit of damage on the passenger side door of the Big Red Machine, he should still be good to continue on. But as for Nathan Stapleton, head on into the turn 1 barrier. And Janiah Hill definitely was very close to being wiped out in that scenario. Very, very close. But look at this here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look at it at speed, going down into 1. And I think Sumner just obviously misjudged how much Stapleton used his brakes to get into the corner. And very big, major whammo for both Sumner and Stapleton to bring out our first caution of the night here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Very tough break for both of those drivers as well. They started towards the back end of the field, and sadly, they are not going to fare all that well. Any better than what they did beforehand. Remember, Sumner started 37th, and she will finish 42nd. Stapleton started 40th, and he'll finish 41st here in this event. We're back to live action. Closing in on 40 laps to go here in the Tropicana 400. For those that are just now tuning in, we are working our first caution of the night here at the Chicagoland Speedway that saw Nathan Stapleton and Jordan Sumner go up into the turn 1 wall, and ultimately their nights came to an end before we saw the checkered flag fall. And they just had their first yellow flag pit stops of the night. The last 2 rounds of pit stops that they had were served under the green flag. My goodness gracious here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pretty fun one here from the Chicagoland Speedway. Of course, last night's Xfinity race saw 3 cautions. And it was still a pretty good barn burner at that. And so far, this race has been a pretty good barn burner here, to say the least, for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series, as the field now starts to work their way through turn number 4. Lights should be out on the pace car this time by. So we should see 1 to go given to these drivers, and nobody is a lap down. So everybody will start single file on the outside line, quote unquote. Your top 10 is going to look like this as we come to the restart. It is Quentin Moore, your race leader. Then in second is Avery Alford. Abby Walker sits in the 3rd position. Running in 4th is Aaron Abel. Completing your top 5, that is CG Halt. Stephen Walker running in the 6th position. In 7th is Russell Blaze. Running in 8th is Noah Clifton. In 9th is Travis Crampton. And Roberto Crown Jr. rounds out your top 10 with 40 laps to go coming up. We are restarting this race with 40 laps to go. And hopefully we don't polygon down the back straightaway. But we are restarting single file. But all the cars are pretty much going to be wadded up. And of course, for those that are just now tuning in, we kind of were polygoning earlier in the race. The graphics, usually whenever the graphics are intense as they are right now, and with a huge wad of cars, we're going to see some paint schemes and some cars kind of get a little bit, well, as I like to say, Satan himself would possess the graphics. Pace cars off. Quentin Moore gonna lead him back to the green flag, and here we go. Moore definitely got a good jump on that restart. He's out of here. As he pulls away by 1/3 of a second over Avery Alford as they start back down turn 1. Stephen Walker in the 24. Putting together a pretty good charge. He's trying to get inside of the top 5. His team owner, Russell Blaze, down to the inside. And car number 29, Noah Clifton, now being shoved up to the outside in the 99 as they're double file heading through turn number 4. You saw the graphics kind of polygon there just a little bit. And he back down into 1. There goes Zachary Fitzwater. And that's... I'm getting mixed up here. That's Aaron Abel. Tonight's just not my night, but Aaron Abel to the inside of Abby Walker. I was right. I was second guessing myself there for that 3rd position, and he's going to move up into the 3rd position, that podium spot, and he might bring that number 24 of Stephen Walker with him as they start back down turn 1. Top 2 starting to pull away yet again with Avery Alford and Quentin Moore. So currently 1-2 as of right now. Quentin Moore in the 0-4 and Avery Alford in the 23. Look at this, 3 abreast. Look at Martin Nixon. Remember, he runs on a part-time basis here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. He won last week's Coca-Cola 600. Got himself into this race, and he has been performing oh so strong pretty much all night long. And we're 3 wide almost yet again, almost 3 wide. It looked like it there going down the back stretch, at least from the shot that we had. But Walker falls back to 5th. Abby Walker, that is. Here comes the 29 of Blaze underneath of CG Hall. Actually, Hall is trying to get a good run around the outside. But it will be Blaze benefiting from that as he takes over the 6th position. And look at this wad of cars. This Hornet's Nest. Michael DeFeo almost up into the outside wall in car number 60. And there's Dorn and Bruno Giacomo in the 90 down there on the bottom side. As we are now finally in the triple digits, and holy cow, we just polygoned. We're going to definitely focus a little bit about like this if we're ever gonna take a look at some racing going on back here. Almost 4 wide. Oh my goodness gracious. Trinity Anderson in the 4 almost was in between Ryan Little and Eric Monaco there heading through turns 1 and 2. Crampton now stuck on the outside. Mercedes Davis trying to get back down to the bottom side of Bobby McGuire heading through turn 1. And up front of the field so far, Alford and Moore still remaining nose to tail. Heading back through turns 1 and 2, 33 laps of racing to go in the Tropicana 400 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Side-by-side battle breaking out here. This is the fight for 10th as Cornish might have just barely gotten edged out there by Noah Clifton, who's rocking around the outside. And they are 3 abreast, almost 3 abreast. And they will go 3 wide heading into turn 3 right here with Davis, as well as Trinity Anderson and Kyle Craven coming off of turn 4. Anderson and Davis touched there coming off the corner. And Davis in the 13 is going to have to try it again. Maybe heading into the next corner. Look at Monaco trying to get to the outside of Ryan Little. This would be the fight for the 17th position. Heading back down through turns 3 and 4. How about Zachary Fitzwater in this 98 machine? Remember, he started 41st here in this race, and our Daytona 500 champion has now moved up into the 8th position. Martin Nixon trying to go back-to-back here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. Remember last week he won the Coca-Cola 600 over Aaron Abel, who sits third here in this race, having himself another spectacular night. Running inside of the top 5. Stephen Walker himself also trying to knock on the door of the top 5 in the point standings. He actually gained a position in the points after last weekend. Some drivers that were inside of the top 10 in points kind of did not have themselves the best of races, and they kind of lost a few positions and even fell outside of the top 10 in points, and that was the catalyst of Stephen Walker picking up a position or two in points. Now, finally, we're going to have ourselves a challenge for the race lead. Here comes Avery Alford to the bottom of Quentin Moore for the top position. They're side by side down the back straightaway, going into turn 3. And Trinity River Racing has yet to score a victory here in the Cup Series. They come off of turn number 4, new race leader. It's going to be Avery Alford in the 23 across the stripe. Aaron Abel and Stephen Walker have now officially joined the fight. And this will be a 4-horse race for the top position. Maybe 5, maybe 6 if Abby Walker and Russell Blaze can catch up. But now Avery Alford is going to clear the 04 of Quentin Moore, and now he becomes Aaron Abel's issue. Easily deals with that as Abel moves up to second. Stephen Walker to the inside. This is the fight for third. And Abby Walker in that 16 might follow along with Russell Blaze in the 29. Heading back through turns 3 and 4. The fight for third is still going, of course. Moore's going to easily hold that spot, at least momentarily. Man, if that was the finish of the race right there, Quentin Moore would have won it by at least a piece of paper. But down the back straightaway, heading into turn 3. They are still dead even. Coming off of turn number 4, Walker's going to edge ahead. And I think he just barely got the spot. And indeed he did. And yet another close call there between both of these drivers. Blaze to the inside of Abby Walker for 5th. Heading down the back straightaway, going into turn number 3. Man, this is some really good stuff that we're seeing in the late stages here at Chicagoland. 24 laps to go. Avery Alford leads the way. 3 wide, potentially going into turn 1. Not going to be the case. As now Abby Walker will move up into 4th. Maybe they're still side by side down the back stretch. Now Russell Blaze is going to make it 3 wide for 4th, heading into 3. Oh my goodness. Can Blaze hold on? Oh, he's still there. He's still down to the inside, but it will be Walker that has the preferred line and has the advantage down the front straightaway and carries that momentum all the way back into turn 1. Nixon runs wide. Moore runs wide, almost up against the outside retaining wall. Thankfully, he doesn't hit it. And there goes Zachary Fitzwater in the 98 down to the inside. This will be the fight for what looks to be the 6th position between Moore and also Fitzwater. Man, really great stuff that we're starting to see in the late stages of the afternoon, or of the evening here at Chicagoland Speedway. Side by side for the 6th position. Looks like Fitzy's going to try to take the fight to Quentin Moore, and so far, he's got it. Hall and Cornish making contact down the backstretch going into turn number 3. And oh my goodness gracious, 21 laps to go, and things are getting very interesting up at the front. Trinity River Racing has yet to score a win on the calendar of the 2026 season. The last time you saw this 23 go to victory lane, I was with Valkyrie Atikian at the Circuit of the Americas in 2025. Avery Alford has yet to see his first win, and here we go for pit stops. This is the money stop right here. Moore and Alford. No mistakes for any of those drivers. One tiny little mishap on pit lane, and that would cost them the race. Meanwhile, Abel assumes the top position. Stephen Walker and Abby Walker, second and third. They're going to stay out. Cornish comes in. Strategies are looking a little bit more diverse. Now Wyatt Walker comes on in. Remember, Walker has just not had himself a good night whatsoever, as he started 22nd in this race and had just not been faring too well ever since pit stops came around, the first and second rounds. As he had been at the back of the field pretty much all night long. Now Stephen Walker surrenders second. Abby Walker pits from third. C.G. Halt and Roberto Crown Jr. come on down. Diacomo. Oh, more contact further in the back between Taylor and as well as Val Mosco. Little bit of contact between the both of them. No troubles whatsoever. We stay green. Walker comes out. As do several other contenders. Now these four pit with Vaughn and pretty much the rest of the crowd in this group. Clifton getting his service done. He'll be down and away shortly. And Russell Blaze currently being scored as the race leader. Oh my, where is that number 29? I think he might have just exited the pit stall, or at least the pit lane. I think so. I'm not 100% certain. Actually, no, there he is. He just is now coming in. So he surrenders the lead. Fitzy surrenders second. But oh my. Inside 20 laps to go, and we're about to see where everybody's going to file in as they make their way back out onto the racetrack. Fitzy finally makes his stop. He's down and away. DeFeo will be out shortly, as will Ramsey, Blaze, and also Craven. But I think the lead is going to cycle back over to Avery Alford in the number 23. Blaze is just now leaving pit road along with Zachary Fitzwater. So I do think we are going to see Avery Alford have himself a huge gap over Quentin Moore. What a great call there for Avery Alford, as now he assumes the lead officially with 15 laps to go, rather. 3.1 seconds back is Quentin Moore. Stephen Walker in third. Then in fourth is Aaron Abel. Abby Walker rounds out your top five. Then it's Joshua Cornish in sixth. Roberto Crown Jr. in seventh. Then in eighth is C.G. Halt. Ninth is the number 90 of Bruno Diacomo. And for the first time entering the top 10, that is Emily Anderson appearing inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight. How about that? Of course, we still have those two retirees, and that's pretty much all that she wrote right there for Stapleton and Jordan Sumner. And again, those are the only two retirees that we've had here for tonight. 12 laps of racing to go, this time by Avery Alford now leads over Stephen Walker, who now moves up to second. This is the best finish that Stephen Walker has had in his NOS Energy Cup career. And that is that runner-up finish that he got at Texas World, and he had himself, and he I wouldn't say he had himself a gap. He pretty much was pretty far behind the 86 of Rogel Dorn when Dorn won at Texas World. It was about a good 6 seconds back. And maybe then some, but looks like Stephen Walker starting to run down the 23 of Avery Alford, but is he going to have enough time to do it? 3/10 got chopped down there with 11 to go. And it's two rookies. I want to bring this up. Two rookies that are inside of the top two and that are fighting for this race win. Two hands in the air, 10 laps of racing to go from here at the Chicagoland Speedway. And amazingly enough, we have only had one caution throughout this entire race and only just 2 retirees. But other than that, it has been a pretty good night from here at Chicagoland. And we might see ourselves a fight for the win between Avery Alford and Stephen Walker, who is trying to run down the leader. Ooh, 3/10, another 3/10 just got chopped down there, but Zachary Taylor looking to play spoiler to the party as he goes to the inside of Stephen Walker. That's not what the 24 team wants to see. Walker runs high, going through 3 and 4. Let's see what the gap looks like across the stripe this time. Ooh, yep, with that, all thanks to Zachary Taylor. That gap has increased yet again, now up to 2 seconds. Alford. Now also starting to, well, actually, no, Aaron Abel, excuse me. Starting to close in on Stephen Walker. And I think that gap might start to be shrinking again. Now that Steven's got a little bit of footing underneath him again. 4/10. That's now, obviously that's the amount of time that Stephen Walker's been able to shave off, but he is running out of time. Coming to 6 laps of racing to go. Another 3/10 have been shaved off. It's 1 1/3 of a second. Challenge for 4th is on between Crown, Walker, and Moore. And Abby Walker is going to easily rocket around Quentin Moore for this 4th position. CG Holt kind of following in the tire tracks. And Wyatt Walker definitely has recovered for the most part, currently in the 17th position. 5 laps to go, and that gap is now under a second. Walker, Stephen Walker that is, in the 24, starting to really close in and reel in that 23, but time is running out. Zachary Taylor could also play a spoiler to this party. His car has been pretty fast all night long, and now there goes Taylor. Going to try to take it to the inside of Alford. And that might be the thing that Stephen Walker needs. 4 laps to go. Aaron Abel also has entered his name into this hat that's going to duke it out for the win with 3 to go. Walker has caught Avery Alford. And we might have her, and we're definitely going to have ourselves a fight for this win. 3 laps to go. And there goes Stephen Walker. Trying to get to the inside. Wasn't able to make the move happen down the back straight, down into turn 1. Maybe might try to make it work down the back straightaway. Aaron Abel trying to get around the 24 from the outside line. 2 fingers up in the air this time by. It'll be 2 laps of racing to go. Stephen Walker not giving up yet. Not going to give up from the bottom side. He goes to the inside yet again, but this time he pulls up alongside. How about Aaron Abel making it 3 wide as he's going to try to thread the needle? They're still side by side. They have gotten around Avery Alford, but they come through turns 3 and 4. The white flag will be flying. All 3 of these drivers looking for their first career NOS Energy Cup Series wins. 1 to go. Alfred Abel leads it. Will he be leading, coming back to the checkered flag? Let's find out. What a move by Aaron Abel to make it 3 wide. With 2 laps to go, he threaded the needle. He got around Stephen Walker and Avery Alford, and the deal is sealed coming off of turn 4. Finally, a first-time winner in Aaron Abel as he gets it done in Chicago. Wow. Oh my goodness gracious. Toyota sweeps the weekend. That was an absolutely amazing finish to this one. Holy cow. Aaron Abel, finally, a NOS Energy Cup Series winner. And Stephen Walker, so close. Unfortunately, he will have to settle for second. Avery Alford, same case for him. He'll come home in third. Then in fourth. And finally, something going right for the number 16 team as they finish in the 4th position. CG Hull rounds out your top 5. And then finishing in the 6th position is Emily Anderson in car number 6, ironically enough. Roberto Crown Jr. comes home in 7th. Bruno Diacomo 8th. Zachary Fitzwater 9th. And Russell Blaze rounds out your top 10. And of course, take a look at the rest of your results. 11th down to 28th. Everybody finished on the lead lap with the exception of our only 2 retirees of Nathan Stapleton and Jordan Sumner. Unfortunately, things have kind of gone awry for them, but my goodness gracious, what a race that we just witnessed from here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Only 1 caution, but by the end of it all, the finish was absolutely worth it, with Abel and Stephen Walker chasing down our race leader in Avery Alford at the time. And of course, Stephen Walker was not going to give it up on the bottom side. He was determined to make it work, but Aaron Abel, of course, a sophomore here in the NOS Energy Cup Series, threaded the needle between both of the rookies and managed to steal the win away from both Walker and Alford. But still a great run for all 3 of these drivers as they are going to get themselves some very good points and move their way up just a little bit more inside of the top 10 in the point standings. As for Russell Blaze, definitely a good chance that we might see him take the points lead away, but I wouldn't count out Andrew Miller. He finished 21st in this event. Tanner Parton finished 28th, but still a very good chance that Tanner Parton is no longer going to be the points leader after tonight. But nonetheless, great racing, great action from here at the Chicagoland Speedway. And one more time, congratulations to Aaron Abel on getting his first NOS Energy Cup Series win. 12 races, 12 different winners. When are we going to see a repeat winner? Who knows? We could see a repeat winner pop up by the time we get to Michigan International Speedway in 2 weeks' time. Of course, the Menards Truck Series and the Xfinity Series will be there for the June 18th through 20th weekend. Of course, the Cup Series will be qualifying on June 20th at 2 p.m. EST, and then the green flag will fly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 20th of June. But that's going to do it. These drivers are going to have themselves a good week off before we get back to racing yet again at the Michigan International Speedway. And if you guys are watching the full race premiere on YouTube, if you guys like what you see, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to consider subscribing in order to keep up with some fine WRLA content that will be posted all throughout the 2026 season. And as far as the Twitch side, if you like what you see, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss a future stream. And we won't be streaming again until June 16th. So by a little over a week from now. But nonetheless, we're going to have ourselves a good little break. One more time, congratulations to Aaron Abel on getting it done here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Have yourselves a great rest of your weekend and a great week, everybody. Take care, and we will see you all June 18th through the 20th at the Michigan International Speedway. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.